budget and we look at our financial statement, Lord, we thank you for that we can come together and have a great night of worship. And Lord, hear a great report about our mission in Costa Rica. Lord, we thank you, and in Jesus' name, amen. Let's stand up.
The splendor of the King, clothed in majesty, let all the earth rejoice, let all the earth rejoice. He wraps himself in light, and darkness tries to hide, and trembles at his voice, and trembles at his voice. Sing, how great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God, and all sing, how great is our God. Oh. And age to age he stands, time is in his hands, the beginning and the end, the beginning and the end. Oh, and God at three in one, Father, Spirit, and Son, the Lion and the Lamb, the Lion and the Lamb. How great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. And all sing, how great is our God. You're the name above all names. You're the name above all names. Worthy of all praise. And my heart will sing, how great is our God. Oh, sing your name. You're the name above all names, worthy of all praise. And my heart will sing, how great is our God. Oh, we sing, how great. How great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. Oh, sing, how great is our God. Sing, how great, one more time. And how great is our God. Our God. And oh, sing, how great is our God. When the music fades and all is stripped away, and I simply come, longing just to bring something that's of worth, that will bless your heart. I'll bring you more than a song, for a song in itself is not what you have required. No, no, no. You search much deeper within. Through the way things appear, you're looking into my heart. I'm coming back to the heart of worship, where it's all about you. It's all about you, Jesus. I'm sorry, Lord, for the thing when it's all about you and no one else. It's all about you, Jesus. And King of endless worth, no one could express how much you deserve. Though I'm weak and poor, all I am is yours, every single breath. I'll bring you more than a song, for a song in itself is not what you have required. Oh, no, 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 no. You search much deeper within. Through the way things appear, you're looking to my heart. I'm coming back to the heart of worship, where it's all about you, Jesus. It's all about you, Jesus. I'm sorry, Lord, for the thing I make it, when it's all about you. It's all about you, Jesus. I'm coming back to the where it's all about you. Let's sing it out. It's all about you, Jesus. I'm sorry. It's all about you, Jesus. I hear the Savior say, thy strength indeed is small. Child of weakness, watch and pray. Find in me thy all in all. Sing this out, Jesus. Jesus paid it all. All to him I owe. Sin had left a crimson stain. He washed, he wiped through. Thy power in thine, thy power in thine alone can change the now. Jesus paid it all.
Jesus paid it all. All to him I owe. Sin and left
The crimson stain, he washed me white as snow. And when before the throne I stand in him complete, Jesus died my soul to save. My lips shall still repeat. Oh, let's sing Jesus paid it all. Yeah, Jesus paid it all. All to him
I owe.
sin had left a crimson stain. He washed me white as snow. Sin had left a crimson stain. He washed it white as snow.
For your love. There we go. I was reminded as I was walking on stage and I was saying, Mona, 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 Mona. It reminded me of being at home, like she doesn't listen to me there either. It's like, give me the microphone. What's going on here, right? I want to read, before I get started here, I just want to share a scripture with you that I just believe is fitting for tonight. And the scripture says in Psalm 136, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, for his loving kindness is everlasting. Verse 2, give thanks to the God of gods, for his loving kindness is everlasting. Verse 3, give thanks to the Lord of lords, for his loving kindness is everlasting. Verse 4, to him who alone does great wonders, for his loving kindness is everlasting. To him who made the heavens with skill, for his loving kindness is everlasting. To him who spread out the earth above the waters, for his loving kindness is everlasting. To him who made the great lights, for his loving kindness is everlasting. The sun to rule by day, for his loving kindness is everlasting. The moon and stars to rule by night, for his loving kindness is everlasting. Amen. And we are reminded through that scripture that we give thanks because God is good and his loving kindness is everlasting. And, tonight we want to share with you about God's goodness and his loving kindness that we experienced in Costa Rica. Just a couple of weeks ago, Mona and I and Danny got to go to Costa Rica to visit Pastor Juan and Kimberly, check on the church there in Hatillo, Rio de Gracia, and it was a great trip. It was encouraging for me. I'm sure that it was encouraging for Mona and Danny. I'll let them tell you themselves here in just a moment. But we have just a little video that we want to share with you guys so you can see just a little bit of what our Costa Rica trip looked like. So, Alana, if you'd hit that for me. that is just a little bit of what we experienced in Costa Rica for the few days that we were there. We actually that trip went really quick, and we actually got more done than we thought we were expected to. The two primary goals, besides going down to encourage Juan and Kimberly, check on the church and the health of the church, they needed help putting up some gutters, and so you saw Danny and Eric putting up some gutters, and then I would sneak in there to take a picture every once in a while. And then we were putting in a security system. They needed a security system installed, and so that was something else that we did. The opportunity, though, to purchase a vehicle came about while we were there, which was a great blessing from the Lord. In fact, we never saw it coming. It was very interesting that on the way there, like getting ready to go to Costa Rica, somebody sent $2,000 to help them purchase a vehicle. The vehicle that they purchased was $8,000, and they were able, within the few days that we were there, they raised the money with different people to pay for that vehicle. The important thing about that is Juan and Kimberly have struggled. That's been one of their biggest struggles, is transportation. In Costa Rica, cars are extremely expensive. The $8,000 SUV that you saw them buy was a Hyundai that doesn't exist in the United States, but it was over 20 years old, had well over 150,000 miles on it. Here in the United States, a vehicle like that would probably be closer to $3,000 or $4,000. They pay about double what we pay because they don't manufacture vehicles there. Everything is an import, and to import a vehicle there is very, very expensive. We even debated, well, maybe we should wait and just import you one from the United States. And to import a car like that, $5,000 car maybe, there would be $6,000 in fees just to get it there, pay import taxes, pay local taxes. It was just crazy. And so we realized that this was a great deal. The vehicle was American, were owned by some Americans that were there and living there, which is a good thing because Americans seem to take care of their vehicles there because they realize that having a vehicle that runs well is very important. And so when that opportunity arose, it was a great, great blessing. It's a 7-passenger SUV, which they obviously have 2 kids. But in Costa Rica, I don't know if you noticed, I had a car full of people at one point in time. I took a little selfie. Seat belts and stuff like that they don't really matter. I mean, you hear the word Costa Rica and you think of a vacation destination, but outside of those resorts, it's a third world country. And I mean, these people, they pile 3 people high with toolboxes on motorcycles. I mean, I'm going, what in the world is going on here? It is, it's just a different culture. So for them to be able to have an SUV that's 4-wheel drive and they can go into these very poor mountain communities is a huge, huge ministry tool. And I know that they were very, very excited about the work that God was doing and about the ability to use that SUV. And so I know they appreciated all the hard work that Danny did, putting up gutters and installing security systems. But man, you talk about icing on the cake. Getting that SUV for them was huge. And so it was a great trip. We got to see a lot of people. Mona and I did. Danny, everybody was new to Danny. Danny didn't know anybody except for me and Mona, really, as he went down there. So Danny has new friends now. But Mona and I obviously have been down there several times as the church has planted, I guess now 4 years ago. And so we're going down there to see old friends and check on believers that are, being discipled there and seeing the different things that are going on in their life. And some of them are about to have babies and had babies since the last time we've seen them. And so it was really, really a blessing to get to go down there and encourage the church and check on them and make sure everything was going well. But what I want to do is I want to ask Mona and Danny to share with you a little bit. And so I'm going to ask Danny too. Danny, come on up. I'll let you go first. I'm going to ask Danny to share a few things with you that he experienced in Costa Rica, and then I may ask Danny a couple of questions on your behalf, unless you have some questions you'd like to ask. But Danny, first thing, just you share I really want to know what your expectation was going in, and did it meet your expectation, exceed your expectation, or this is what I was thinking it was going to be.
Well, I've been to Mexico several times, and I've been to Honduras in the past, back in the 80s. So, I had a kind of an idea what to expect, and it was pretty much what I expected. Actually, I think it was actually a little nicer than I was expecting, honestly. So, two things real quick, though. I'm retired, so I'm not supposed to have to do any public speaking anymore. And second of all, if any of y'all are getting lured to go to Costa Rica for a T-shirt, it don't exist. There ain't no T-shirt. But no, it was a very rewarding trip. Good people doing good work down there and need help. So what was it, like 80% Roman Catholic? Then there's a couple of big cults. What was that one? People of the Light. So evangelical churches are in the definite minority down there, but they're growing.
I stumped you on that one. Yeah.
Everything seemed to be going pretty
It
smooth.
did, didn't it? I'm not gonna lie. I was looking. I was like, y'all are doing well.
You need to be nicer to the little kids there, though, because that one little kid, he wanted nothing to do with it.
That's true. That
was
is
funny.
true.
If you saw at one point in the pictures, Pastor Juan was holding a little boy. He just wandered up there. Pastor Juan reaches down, picks him up, and is holding him. Pastor Greg's like, here, let me hold him. The kid's like, ah. And then Pastor Juan says, I'm his pastor.
That's right. That's exactly what he said. That's exactly what he said. Yeah. Now everything at the church seems to be going well, functioning well. I think one of the biggest things that we see right now is the fact that it's such a great encouragement. Because one of the things that Danny just mentioned, it's mostly it's a Catholic culture, but it's even different than the Catholics that we experience in Texas or the United States. It's more of a Roman Catholic, and so they don't associate with evangelicals at all. Evangelicals are very, very looked down upon, like they're all cults, is what people think. And so it sometimes makes it hard to minister. And it also makes, around in Texas, you have the ability that you have people coming into your church. Sometimes they're, people that are well-churched, not just new believers, but they're like, all right, we've been around. We know what's going on. We know what to expect. And immediately they're like, we can plug in and help. But in Costa Rica, most of the new people that come in are coming in from maybe a Catholicism background or a different background, and they're really not Christians at all. And so to serve in a church is something new, and to share the gospel is something new. And so it's pretty interesting, the discipleship that has to take place there within the church walls. So what was the
In the young families with kids.
yes, the families? I mean, there were kids all over that place, and I was just thinking a while ago. I heard a little kid somewhere, crying and making some noise, and I thought, man, what a blessing that is. When you've got little kids running around in a church, that shows that that's a healthy church. They should be welcomed, and if they're not, there's something wrong with the person not welcoming them. But man, there was little kids running all over the place there in Costa Rica. That's for sure.
Okay, we need to put up some sound barriers, some sound dampening.
Yes.
The building's concrete. It's all concrete walls, and the sound bounces around inside there.
That's what most of their houses are made out of concrete. We saw that. I think a little bit of it's because of earthquakes. I don't know if y'all remember me mentioning the last time Juan and Kimberly were here to speak to you guys, but one of the trips I was on before, there was I think it was a 6.3 earthquake that happened while we were there. I didn't feel it though. Like it was right where I was at, and somebody goes, "The van is moving, the van is moving," because the van was shaking and the trees were shaking, and I didn't even notice it. I didn't feel anything. And we had a group of people at the beach, and we had to run down to the beach, and coconuts had fallen on them and all kinds of stuff, but I never felt it. But yeah, that's why those concrete buildings exist, I think, is they uphold to those earthquakes a little bit better.
And hurricanes.
And hurricanes, yeah. Yep. So was there anything that caught you by surprise in Costa Rica?
Mad Max.
Mad Max. Who's that? So
That would be you.
I know what the joke is. So I drive differently in Costa Rica than I do in the United States. Because in Latin America, those people don't know how to drive. And if you're not careful, you will get run over. And so I have the mentality, I'm going to run you over before you run me over. Get out of my way. And so I got you there safe.
You were blending well.
I was blending well. I'm just fitting in with the culture, Danny. Fitting in with the culture. But it definitely was a great trip. Let me ask you this. For somebody that's wanting to go to Costa Rica, what do you think, what would be some advice that you would give them, especially like, say it was a retired person going, in what way should they physically plan, do you think?
No, plan for the heat, because it's a tropical climate. It's warm and it's very, very humid.
Mhm.
Everybody I've been telling about, I'm like, it makes Houston look like mere child's play. The humidity. I mean, out there working in that gutter, but the crazy thing is, working on that gutter, you're up on a ladder, you're in the sun. I mean, it was just smoking hot. But you get in the shade, and it's like, and with a breeze, it's like air conditioning.
Yeah.
It's really strange.
Luckily, and I was telling Danny this, luckily we went at a time of year that it's not their hottest time of year. And so it did help a little bit that it was probably a little bit cooler than in what it would be in their summer. But yeah, the sun sneaks up on you there. I had to watch Danny as he was climbing up on that ladder. I was like, man, that sun will sneak up on you quick. It's just, you're so close to the equator there that it's just completely different than any other time.
Bring
Bring a
a hat. I
hat.
planned on buying one when I got there, and that never happened.
Yes, it didn't. So anything else that you just think you'd like to share?
I highly recommend it. It was very rewarding. It was my first mission trip ever, and my first time to Costa Rica. But it was very rewarding. I mean,
Yeah. Praise God. All right, we all give Danny a hand. It was great ministering with him. Mona, do you want to come talk a little bit? Come on. So Mona is a Costa Rica veteran because she tries to go with me as much as possible as we go down, and because she's really invested in the church, but really she's invested in Juan and Kimberly's family. Like, she loves Juan and Kimberly's family. Their kids are Aiko and Fallon. We've seen them when we showed up. We were talking about this. When we showed up in, I guess it was 2018, they were like 4 and 6 or 3 and 5. Yeah. And so we've watched them grow up over the last 6 years, and it's been amazing. But what was something from this trip that you think you would like to share?
I think that since I've been, with start to where we're at right now, the bigger thing that I've seen is just time and time again, God just provision over them. I mean, just the story of how we met them, or how Craig met them, and how God has just brought this mission alive, and he just continues to provide. I mean, the car thing was just like, what? I was just talking to David and Jan about how we get so surprised when God does what he says he's going to do, which is providing. And when you see it on the mission field with these humble servants, and it's a car that some of us wouldn't even drive, and they're just so overjoyed to get this vehicle that they were like, how are we going to pay for it? I mean, what Craig doesn't tell you is they had already gotten a loan that was going to have 30% interest. 30%. Like, it was going to take them forever to pay off this vehicle. And God provided every penny for that car. And it's just like, he keeps providing for them. And it's because of the faithful servants that have come along the church to provide these things. And it's just such an overwhelming blessing. Every time I go, it's just a miracle work of God. And I love it.
So
everybody needs to go. That's my big advice.
So that was the next question I was going to ask you is, for somebody that would want to go, what would you say? And you said it. Everybody needs to go.
Yes, I would say if you're physically able, yes, it's hot and it's a mission. Okay, this is not a vacation, like
We
you're
did
going-
let Danny play in the ocean.
we
Y'all saw
did,
that.
And we usually do
let
go
him
to
play in the
one
ocean.
time. But it's a mission. I mean, you're going out there, and it's a mission. It's not a vacation. But it is so rewarding, and if you're physically able, you need to do it. You need to do it at least one time.
All right. Thank you, Mona. So, really, though, with that said, we went down there. One of the reasons for going was to check on Kimberly and Juan, and those kind of things, and also explore possibilities. The goal was not just to plant a church in Costa Rica, but the goal 6 years ago when we came into this is to plant multiple churches. And so what we've seen over the last 3 or 4 years is God has built a strong church. And you see disciples being made. You see people getting baptized. You see these things taking place. And so what you see is the church functioning like it should. And so the next goal is to possibly, plant another one. One that Juan could be involved in because he now has this experience, one he could oversee. And so one of the things that we're going to be doing is looking at that for the future. And as we look toward the future, we'll take some trips and we'll go down and we'll also help them. One of the things here you see me sort of instituting is outreach, right? We talk about outreach. We're going to go on an outreach weekend. Next Sunday night, we're not meeting in here. We're meeting up at the park. We'll reserve us a pavilion. I'll let you know this week which pavilion we'll be at, probably over at Celebration Park again. We'll be handing out kites. We'll be making relationships. We'll be doing those things, and so make plans to be a part of that. If you can volunteer and do popcorn or snow cones or kites or whatever you want to do, we'll need volunteers out there helping. We went out there a little unprepared last time because we really didn't think anybody would show up, but God showed up, and then the rest of us just had to get to work. And so it would be great to have more hands on deck and see how God can utilize that opportunity. That's one of the things they're not used to doing in Costa Rica is outreach. And so one of the things over the last few years as the church has been planted, that's one of the things I've sort of trained the church and Juan to do is reach into their community. They have a really good representation in their local schools. And so when we go on trips, we love to go into the local public schools. They let you come in. You can serve the kids lunch or snacks. You can take them, anything gospel related. The schools, here the schools are afraid for you to mention Jesus. There they openly welcome it, which is amazing. But it's because pretty much the country is ran by Roman Catholics. And so Jesus isn't a bad thing. They just don't believe Jesus saves the same way the Bible says and the same way we believe. And so what we do is we get the ability to go in there and talk about grace because everything there revolves around works, doing good deeds and righteous deeds. And so we get to go in and present grace. Like we learned from Titus this morning, chapter 1, that we are saved by the mercy of God. It is not our deeds of righteousness, but is by his mercy. And so that's a message that they continue. Their community needs to continue to hear. And so we take advantage of going down there into the schools. We go into the mountain communities. And so the community that Juan and Kimberly live in would probably really, for Costa Ricans, be considered middle class. A middle-class Costa Rican is going to make about $1,000 to $1,200 a month. So anywhere from probably $12,000 to $14,000 a year is what they live on. If it's a dual-income home, it'd probably be closer to $20,000 a year. And so that's what they live on down there. And the way that they are able to do that is because they are very content with their lifestyle. It's not because many people believe that, the cost of living's cheaper down there. Well, you ask Danny, when you go to a restaurant, it's not any cheaper down there. It's not at all. When you go to the grocery store, it's not any cheaper. Nothing's cheaper, but they have learned to live by simple means. And so the average person is making about $1,000 to $1,200 a month. Their houses are very simple. Kimberly and Juan, they live in such a humble place. but they love to share in their home. They love to share their home. And so that's one of the things that you see and that you're encouraged by. But they also love to go into those mountain communities, and you'd be shocked by the poverty as you go up, and they don't have clean drinking water. Like even in Juan's community, you can't drink the faucet water. It's not drinkable. They have to have water brought in. And so just things like that we take for granted, you see. It's like, I don't even think about it. I can go stick my cup in my sink right now, fill it up with water. Might not like the way it tastes, but I know I'm not going to get sick. But you can't do that in those communities, especially those smaller communities there in Costa Rica. And so we get chances to go in there and to minister to people. We get chances to go in and to help people. I know that y'all have participated in the Christmas boxes where you've done Operation Christmas. I've handed those boxes out in communities in Costa Rica that are very impoverished communities. We've handed those boxes out. It's a great thing. You'd be surprised how excited a kid can get over a little toy and a toothbrush. I mean, it's amazing. And those things are needed, and they're desperately needed. And so one of the questions that you may have, and this was one of the things that we were trying to explore while we were there in Costa Rica, is what could we do as Cornerstone, as the church, if we want to come alongside and we want to help support Juan and Kimberly, we want to help support the church in Hatillo. What can we do more than financially? And really what they need is, if you come, they need help with outreach. And so I was looking forward to 2025 and thinking, okay, I could take me a team in 2025 and we could go to Costa Rica and we could put on an outreach and we could help them reach some of these schools, some of these communities. And so I began to talk to Kimberly and Juan while we were there. And I said, what when you think about outreach, what's the biggest outreach that you do? What do y'all need the most help with? And they said, our Christmas festival. And I said, well, when is your Christmas festival? And they said, it's December 7th. And they said, it is the community has responded in such a great way, but our church has to do all the work. And we can't do it. There's just not enough of us. If y'all want to help and you could bring people, that would be the perfect time. And I said, well, I'm going to go back and I'm going to tell them that we need to be there on December 7th. And so what I'm telling you is I'm going to be getting information out here in the next week or so. I'm targeting the Thursday, whatever that Thursday before, which I think is December 5th. What I'm targeting right now in my mind is December 5th through the 12th. The festival will be on the 7th, and so that we would fly down on the 5th. We would be down there through the 12th. We'd be helping them with their festival and any other outreach that they might have and any other needs that they might have at that point in time. Every time we go, there's always outreach needs and there's always physical needs. There's always something. One of the things, though, that the Lord really blessed, I never even expected this. I didn't expect the car. I didn't expect air conditioning. You go nowhere. You ask Danny. You go nowhere and find air conditioning. All right. Now, in the gringos, that's what I am. I'm a gringo. In the gringos where they stay, they usually do have air conditioning. You don't go to the store and find air conditioning. You don't go to people's homes and find air conditioning. You don't find anything. But somehow they got air conditioning in the church. And so I was shocked. I was like, this is amazing. And so that's just one of the ways God's blessed them, is now they have air conditioning in the church. And so it does make it a little easier when we go down there. But I will warn you, all right, I will warn you, December, January, and February, the hottest months in Costa Rica. That's their summer. And so when Danny said, hey, it's hot, it's hotter in December. I've been there in December and January. It's hotter then. But you just have to prepare yourself, and you have to be ready, and you have to know, and you have to stay hydrated. Those are all very important things. So I want to encourage you to think about and pray about December's mission. But before we close or anything, I want to ask you guys, do y'all have any questions? Yes, ma'am. It depends on where you go. So like Kimberly and Juan, did you get to meet Kimberly and Juan when they were here? Okay. Kimberly and Juan speak English very well. That's what's made me lazy in learning Spanish because I don't have a problem communicating with them. Now, when you do get into like the neighborhoods there in Costa Rica, you get into and you start to talk to the locals. A lot of them don't speak English well or English at all. And so some of them would, depending on how old they are, some of them would, but we would have an interpreter. So Juan would go with us and interpret. Juan's usually the one that would give a gospel message. So they get really excited when Americans come. That's really most countries. If you go in and minister in most countries, they get really excited when Americans come. And so what we usually do is we go in and try to meet a physical need. So if it's a need that they have in the school, like we've gone and redid desks, we've taken school supplies, we've fed the kids lunch, we go in and do those things, and we try to talk to those that can speak English. But when it comes to the gospel being presented, Juan will either do it himself in Spanish so that they can understand it, or he'll translate. Like if I were going to give a gospel message, he would translate on my behalf. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Those are things that we would take down there with us. One of the most effective ones we've ever seen, I forget what it was called, but it was that multicolored bracelet. Do you remember what it was called, Mona? But that was one of the most effective. It's a little bracelet that you hand out and it has the colors, and you tell about the colors, and so that's been good. Where do we stay? We stay in a place. We try to stay in the same place every time. We just call them the villas, but I can show you on the Google map exactly where it is. Usually, if we can take a group of 12 or more, we rent out the whole property, and it's basically 4 cabins. Each cabin can hold anywhere from 4 to 5. And so you can take the most 20. I don't ever really like taking a group larger than 20 because it gets hard to manage. But when you have in between 10 and 20, we comfortably stay there by ourselves. It's gated in, but it's in their neighborhood. So, yes. Yeah. Well, where we're at, the crime's not high. It's not. Yeah. Now there are other areas in Costa Rica, but their community, it's a tight community. I've sent college kids over there that have gone over there and stayed for 3 months with Juan and Kimberly. They have no problems. We've never had any problems. The biggest problem's theft. So it'd be like, don't leave your stuff laying around. Don't leave it easily accessible for somebody to steal it. But the community that we stay in is gated. Yeah, that's right. Trust in God like your car. But even like Mona will walk through the neighborhood with ladies, not worried that anything's going to happen. It's the neighborhood, the area that they live in is safe. Actually, just about probably 10, 15 minutes south of where they are, there's a lot of Americans. The reason they have air conditioning in their church was because local Americans bought it for them. Because local Americans have been coming to church there because Juan speaks English, and they bought the air conditioner so that they could be comfortable. Yeah. So usually we travel. I like to travel Southwest because Southwest lets you take 2 carry-on bags, or not carry-ons, 2 check bags for free. So what we usually do before a big mission, if we're going to have a bunch of stuff that we need to take, and we have had to do this, we ask for people, we say, hey, clean out your closets and find us the oldest suitcases and biggest suitcases you have that you don't want back. And we pack them full. We take them with us. We don't bring them back. We leave. Kimberly, the church will sell those old luggage. They'll sell those old suitcases after we've traveled with them. But in the midst of the construction process, like we took giant rolls of Romex wire because our electrical wire here is better than their electrical wire. We packed suitcases with Romex wire. We packed suitcases with PEX. If you know, we do plumbing by PEX now. We packed it all in those suitcases because it was just easier. Oh, yeah, they have a direct flight from Houston. Yes. Hmm. Yeah, if you leave out of Dallas, you just have to fly to Houston and then go to Costa Rica. Yep. All right. Yes, sir. Danny, how do you got questions back there? You've already been. Yeah. 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 The way they operate's just different. It's not you realize you're not in America anymore, and that's what I have to remind people. And they're not Americans. They do things different than we do. They're on a different timetable. Absolutely. The what? Oh yeah, yeah. We did give Danny a hard time about the silver alert. Like we were always afraid we were going to lose Danny and have to put out a silver alert there in Costa Rica. And y'all know what a silver alert is, right? Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm already thinking about it. If some of y'all want to go, I'm going to have to get one of those little. Do y'all know what the little Apple air tags are? I'm just going to attach them to some of y'all. That way, in case I lose you, I can come find you. Sure. You know what? I think that they do pay. She asked, the question was, do I believe in those Latin American countries, do they pay more adoration to Mary, Mother Mary, than they do Jesus? I think that can be a common thing. I don't, though, spend a lot of time in the Catholic Church, so I don't get to see the depths of it. But yes, I think that's one of the dangers is that Mary can become an idol when you're not careful. I do think, though, this is just Pastor Craig's personal opinion, I do think that we don't give her enough credit sometimes in the evangelical realm. Like she was blessed and highly favored. Yeah, like and I could say that like she definitely earned my respect when you begin to read the story, the birth story of Jesus. Mary, the Bible says, blessed and highly favored. So, all right. Any other questions tonight? All right. Well, hey, I'm going to tell you right now to go ahead and to mark your calendars for December 5th through the 12th. I'm going to be working, I believe, the cost, because that's what some of you might be thinking. The cost is probably going to be around $1,400 a person is what I anticipate. And so I'm sure we'll have fundraisers and all kinds of other stuff that we could do. But we'll target that. And so I encourage you to put it down on your calendar and start thinking about that. December the 5th through the 12th. Hopefully Cornerstone will be in Costa Rica. So, but that's all I got for you tonight. I'm glad that you're here. I appreciate you being here tonight. Continue to pray for Juan and Kimberly in Costa Rica. Don't forget, we do have our prayer meeting on Wednesday night. Please be back for that at 7. Next weekend is our big outreach at the park. So make sure you make plans to be a part of the big outreach next weekend. Start to invite people. If you know families that want to come out and fly some kites with us, start to invite some people to come out. I still can't believe one of my favorite things from the last time we went out and did our kite outreach was the little boy that saw it on Facebook, and he's been thinking all week about going to go out there and fly that kite. When he started to fly that kite, he said, "Y'all made my dreams come true," because he had been dreaming all week. He had a dream about flying a kite, and so what we really want to do is we want to introduce them to Jesus, so that when they fly a kite and their dreams come true, they get to meet Jesus. And so take advantage of that next weekend. Don't forget, we're getting ready to take students to camp in June. If you know of any high school students, junior high students that have not registered, we need to get them registered ASAP. So if you have any questions about that, just come ask one of us and we'll let you know. But thank you so much again for being here tonight. Brother Michael, you still got that microphone back there? All right, well, turn that thing on, and why don't you dismiss us in a word of prayer?